Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, this is the sixth lecture of the series of the development of the nervous system, and in this lecture we will discuss the development of the midbrain. Dear students, midbrain is the part of the brain which lies caudal to the thalamus and cranial to the pons. It develops one of the primary vesicles which are formed from the neural tube during the development of the brain, and that vesicle is called the mesencephalon. It is the vesicle which does not divide into two during the formation of the secondary vesicles, rather it as such converts into the secondary vesicle. Another differentiating point is that this vesicle undergoes less changes than the other parts of the brain during the development. Yes, there is more and more accumulation of the neuroblast from the neuroepithelial cell into the mantle layer of the developing walls, and that causes thickening of the lateral walls of the developing mesencephalon. That more thickening result in the narrowing of the neural canal of this vesicle. So neural canal of this vesicle does not form the typical large ventricle like the hindbrain or the cerebral hemispheres which form the large ventricles. It forms the narrowest portion of the ventricular system, which is called the cerebral aqueduct of the sylvius. And that cerebral aqueduct of the sylvius is the part of the ventricular system which connect the third ventricle with the fourth ventricle. Midbrain can be divided into three parts: the tectum, which is the dorsal part which lies dorsal to the cerebral aqueduct from here to here. So that portion is also called the roof of the midbrain. A portion ventral to the tectum up to the crus cerebri is called the tegmentum. It contains mostly the neural masses and the fibers running from one nuclei to the other, forming the reticular formation. And the third is the swelling on the ventral aspect of the midbrain bilaterally, separated by a deep sulcus. This one. So this one is the right crus cerebri and this one is the left crus cerebri. And these contains the fibers from the cerebrum. Dear students, first we will discuss the development of the tectum. Tectum contains four masses of the grey matter which are called colliculi. Two superior and two inferior. These are the four colliculi, two superior and two inferior ones. Superior are also called the anterior and the inferior are also called the posterior. As I have told you that the tectum develops from the alar plates of the lateral wall of the developing neural tube. So the neuroblasts from these alar plates, they migrate to the overlying marginal zone and here they rather arrange themselves in layers like this one. So they are a laminated masses, and these masses initially form a pair of longitudinal elevations which are called Carpora bigemina. And these two longitudinal elevations are initially demarcated by shallow groove, longitudinal shallow groove, like this one. Later on, a transverse groove forms which divide those two columns, one lying on the right side, the other lying on the left side, divide those two elevations into four elevations, which are called colliculi. The two superior and the two inferior colliculi, and these group of four colliculi are called Carpora quadrigemina. The superior colliculi are concerned with the visual reflexes, while the inferior colliculi are concerned with the auditory reflexes. Tegmentum is the part of the midbrain which lies from cerebral aqueduct up to the crus cerebri. So that region is called the tegmentum of the midbrain. It forms from the neuroblast, which are derived from the basal plates of the wall of the neural tube. And the neuroblasts forming from the basal plates, they form the different nuclei. Number one, the general somatic efferent group of the nuclei, which forms the nuclei of the third and the fourth cranial nerves, and the fibers arising from these two nuclei, they supply the extraocular muscles of the eyeball. The second group of the nuclei is the general viscerant efferent. It forms a nucleus with the name of the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. This nucleus supplies the sphincter papillary muscles of the eyeball. The third mass, which is interspread in the reticular formation and looks a red color mass, that is why it is called the red nucleus. It develops from the basal plate. But some people say that some of the neuroblasts which give rise to the neurons of the red nucleus, they are also derived from the alar plates. So it is a mixture, but mainly it is derived from the neuroblast from the basal plates. Another group, which are very small group of nuclei interspread between the fibers, is the reticular nuclei. These also develop from the basal plates. Next is the substantia nigra, which is a grey color mass of the neurons which lies just dorsal to the crus cerebri. This substantia nigra, its origin is more debatable, as most of the people say, as indicated by this solid line, that its neurons are derived from the neuroblast coming from the alar plates. But some people, they claim that its neurons are derived from the neuroblast of the basal plates. So it is still under research. Its formation is still under research, but most of the people claim that the substantia nigra is formed from the neuroblast deriving from the crus cerebri are the swellings which are present on the ventral aspect of the midbrains. These swellings are produced due to the descending fibers which arises from the cerebral cortex. So it does not contain the structure which arises from the walls of the mesencephalon. It contains the fibers, descending fibers, which arises from the different parts of the cortex of the cerebral hemispheres. They constitute the corticopontine fibers, the corticonuclear fibers, and the corticopontine fibers. The corticopontine fibers are divided into two groups. The fiber arising from the frontal lobe, they are located in the medial part, while the fiber arising from the temporal part of the cerebral hemisphere, they are located in the lateral most part of the crus cerebri, while the middle portion is occupied by the corticonuclear and the corticospinal fibers. The corticopontine fibers end in the pontine nuclei of the pons, while the corticonuclear fibers, they end in the cranial nerve nuclei of the pons and the medulla oblongata. While the corticospinal fibers, they descend even down into the spinal cord, where they end on the anterior horn cells of the spinal cord. So they have different points of the termination. This concludes the development of the midbrain. Thank you, my dear students. In the next lecture, inshallah, we will learn the development of the diencephalon. Allah Hafiz. Stay blessed.